Good morning. I'm Sandy Walden of Serenity, your master grief coach. September is Suicide Awareness Prevention Month. If you're joining me this morning, please give me a hello, give me a wave. I'd like to understand what your experience is, and I'd like to open up these conversations because suicide is something we don't talk about very often. When you're someone who's lost someone to suicide, it's really a typical thing to not talk about it, to not be asked about it, to be very uncomfortable talking about it. It's not at all unusual for people to say that they feel guilt, shame, stigma, on and on. Now, this can happen with other sorts of grief as well, of course, and all of it needs to be talked about. Tomorrow night in my group, and the link is in the comments, I'm going to be hosting a master class. Let's talk about these things. Guilt, shame, stigma, suicide loss, whatever sort of grief you're experiencing. Because these things do not have to be gone through alone. The truth is, the most difficult conversations are the ones it's most important to have. Now, it's true, I lost my youngest son to suicide 9.5 years ago at the end of 2010. I've never shied away from the way Mike died, simply because it has nothing to do with who he is. It has nothing to do with the way I remember him, the way that I honor him and I celebrate him. That doesn't mean that we don't talk about it. Far too often, when people talk about healing their grief, they feel as though they cannot acknowledge the way the person they love died. That shutting things down, hiding things, pretend it didn't happen, only intensifies the pain and the grief. What needs to happen is that we have to have conversation. We need to talk about the shock. We need to talk about the absolute amazement, the surprise, the horror, the complicated bits that are all part of this. Because when we talk about it, we're shining a light on it. When we shine a light on something, it's no longer in the shadows. It matters. You matter. The person you love, the person you will always love, matters. The way they died can be incredibly traumatic. It can bring on PTSD for a lot of people. It matters that we explore it, that we talk about it, that we process it, that we integrate it, so to speak. This person we love lived. Things happened. Messy, wonderful, complicated, frustrating, loud, all of the above and so much more. But when we talk about all of these pieces, we're not being ended where their earthly existence ended. We need to talk about those things because that's how we heal. And that's how we embrace the continued relationship that we have with them. To my way of thinking, there's no place for guilt, shame, or stigma. That doesn't mean it's not experienced. It doesn't mean it's not felt. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. When I say there's no place for guilt, shame, or stigma, what I mean is let's talk about it. Let's get through it, because that's how we get it out. If there's a weed in my garden, it doesn't go away because I deny its existence. I need to know it's there. I need to pull it out. That too happens with support and conversation. Honest conversation. Oh my goodness, it's messy. Good morning, Susie. I'm always so glad to have you show up here. You make my day better. Following up on a great conversation, yes, we have a free support conversation every Tuesday night for anyone who's grieving, any adult. And it might be suicide grief, it might be grief to other causes. What matters when we come together is that it's a really safe place to express what's in our thoughts and in our hearts. That's what we're doing tomorrow night, Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Time in my group. And as I say, I'll put the link below. It's a really safe place because the group is private. Facebook in general will have no idea what you've shared. It stays within that group unless you choose to tell someone else what you've expressed. It matters. September is Suicide Awareness Prevention Month. I can't go back and change the way things have unfolded for my son, but by taking steps to heal my own grief and to support others, I believe we save other lives. Postvention is truly powerful prevention. So I'm going to get off here for now. I'd like to remind you you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone. There's incredible healing in sharing with others as well as hearing others. It reminds us that we matter, that the one we love matters. So today, if you listen to this either now or later, I hope that you jump on, say hello, let me know if it's a replay. And I'm inviting you to join me tomorrow night, but I'd like to go further. Go ahead, share their name. Tell me something about them that fills your heart with love, because that's what healing looks like. Thank you, Susie. I wish you a good day as well. I'm Sandy Walden of Serenity, your Master Grief Coach, and I'm wishing you a wonderful, gentle, healing day. Namaste.